Hello everyone, and welcome to Jumperman Tech, where we specialize in HVAC, we do everything DIY, and today we have a service call for a refrigeration rack system. Thank you to everyone tuning in to Jumperman Tech. Today we have a follow-up service call for a refrigeration rack system. There is a known very large refrigerant leak in this system. The other day I was here and we actually found a leak, and I have a video of that through my cell phone. Maxed out. I just connected my manifold set to the circuit. I know that leads to that unit. So this is a rack system that is air cooled. Got two condenser fan motors in the back, of course outside. So all these two sets of pipes leads to multiple units inside of the building. So this one outdoor unit, one condensing unit, serves like over 15 different refrigerators, from walk-in boxes to small little low boys. So once we found a leak, we had to figure out, well, which pipe goes there. I mean, you can't see it. So the process of finding that was to install a bullet piercing valve on that unit so we could read pressure, and then we pump down each circuit to find out which line is what. I know that it's on this line. We're going to shut down multiple refrigerators. We're going to start the process by pumping down that circuit. The leak is here on this box. Every time doors open and closed, it keeps moving. As you can see, it's not even here. It was moved again. So back here, we have the leak in this little area right here. I installed this piercing valve right here, so you can put a gauge on there, so you can read the pressure. That's how we tracked it down. We pumped down that circuit, pressure went down, we know it controls that line. It does control multiple systems, but it is what it is. So we're gonna have to pump it down right now, confirm the pressure came down here, so we know we're safe to cut the pipes. Let's pay attention to the pressures. Our back pressure is about 55 pounds, and our head pressure is about, what, 185 pounds. Down here, we got these little, oh, I need to charge the battery on the light. These little ball valves here, you can close them and isolate the circuit. So the way you would pump down our system is you would close the high side here. So now with this closed, refrigerant can't pass into the unit. It's all going to come out of the unit through the suction line. It's your liquid line, right? Liquid suction. Back to the suction line, and all that refrigerant is going to be stored in your receiver or your condenser coil, or pretty much flow throughout the rest of the circuits. So I'm going to be able to keep the rest of the system operating by doing this method instead of shutting down two whole floors of refrigeration. So we're going to close the high side. We're going to watch the high side pressure drop down to our back pressure, and then from there we'll try to manipulate the valves to get a little bit more refrigerant out and recover the rest. Also, we're going to watch the gauge at the unit where the leak is, make sure it comes down, know that we're safe, cut the lines. If you look, it's parallel here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an adjustable and close this. This one does have a history of not holding right, so we're going to hope it's okay. Now, we're going to watch the pressures, and little by little our pressure is coming down, and we are pumping down the system. This could take a little while. You guys look now, we're about 50 pounds on the low side and about 50 pounds on the high side. Like this, you save as much refrigerant as you can. So if some reason, you know, this just doesn't pump down all the way. So the way you can manipulate this, which is really tricky, I couldn't find this info anywhere, you would close the other two suction lines, and then you'll notice the pressure come down. It'll do as much as it can, but then from there, you're gonna have to close both the two lines that you're working on, close both. Whatever's left is left, and you're gonna recover the rest. So let's see. Gotta do this live. So right now, got about 50 pounds, right? We're gonna close this suction line and this suction line. Man, I really gotta charge that battery. I have another spare one. Let's close this. Man, I think it's tight. We get a better grip on there. We're gonna close those two, okay? On the two other lines that we're not working on. These two lines are completely closed. They're not using it anymore. So, man, this thing don't want to turn for nothing. Right there, closed. Now let's close the next one. And watch the pressure's coming down. It was just at 50, right? It's gonna keep coming down slowly. So pretty much as much as we could take from there. We're gonna close this one, so now both lines are closed. We open the rest so that system can operate, and we recover what's left in those lines. It's about as low as it's gonna go. Really, it's not budging anymore. I mean, you're pretty close to empty. So what we're gonna do is now close this line that we're working on. So now the low side and the high side are closed. Okay? And we're gonna open up the rest. Keep those operating. Alright, we're gonna keep those operating. Now you're gonna let it be, we're gonna recover the rest. Okay, we're recovering the refrigerant right now. There's not much in it. I would use a scale to know how much we took out so we could put the same exact back, but you're losing so much refrigerant that it's not, you're gonna need to add more regardless. So I'm only gonna use a scale when I'm charging it, so I know how much I added, and so I know what to charge the customer for my work order. But pretty much empty. We're gonna double check the gauge at the unit, make sure we're empty and we're safe, and we could begin with this repair. And like this, we save as much refrigerant as we can, and we keep the rest of the unit operational. Here's the bullet piercing valve I attached to the system without lighting a torch so we can read pressure. As you can see, we're actually in a small vacuum right now, so we're good. So we can cut these pipes out. This looks absolutely ridiculous, how it's like all curled up and stuff like that. We're gonna change that up. And you see here, a little gasket material and a pipe clamp trying to slow down that leak. Yeah, it ain't stopping the refrigerant leak. We gotta get it over there. Problem is, I could fit one hand in here. It's very difficult. I'm actually gonna cut the lines to the unit, pull it out, fix the leak, and then make my final connections somewhere where it's hopefully comfortable. Everything is outside of the refrigerator, so nothing's gonna go bad. It's in the walk-in box. So there we go. All right, so this is all soaked with oil and everything. We have to pull the insulation out. Anyways, got my tubing cutter here. Let's cut out these two lines, 3/8 and 1/4 inch. Let's pull out the box and see, you know, how we could repair this leak the best way. It's kind of a tricky spot. So let's cut this out and move this box out the way. We're gonna cut both lines. All right, I'm in this little space here. This piping is horrendous. So you see right here, this pipe right here is the one that's leaking. If you could see it, pipe is kinked. You see that? And there's a hole right there. And it tees off. It looks like we're not patching that. We're gonna have to pull this thing out. I'm gonna heat it up and pull it out. Oof, man. I'm gonna have to pull that pipe out. It's gonna make things more difficult, but anyways, this is wet rag heat blocking putty. This is what I'm using. I'm gonna absorb the heat so we don't melt anything from there. So the goal is to heat this up, just pull this whole thing out. All right, smoke alarms are off. I don't have my channel locks on me, but honestly, this thing's gonna fall down with the weight. No big deal. Just light it up. It's out. It was really up in there. That's good though.
Yeah.
Should be able to get that out too. Alright. Alright, so I'm gonna scrap some of this copper here and use that to push it into the T. So, looks good. I'm gonna use it up and we're gonna make that connection there. Alright, cut out a piece of 3/8. And we'll be able to fit that back in. Let's of course sand the pipe, deburr the pipe, and run nitro through the system while you light the torch. And we're gonna braze this here while I have this little access. And yeah. Alright, we got nitro flowing through the system with our regulator. Let's go ahead and light this place up. Let's at least make this connection where I have space. Torch is oversized, but it'll make it faster. As far as what we're gonna do, we're gonna add in this right here. This is called No Kink by Seal. It's flexible mini split refrigerant line connectors. It's good for 800 pounds, and it's basically a flexible line in case they ever do move it. But once we put this unit back, we're also gonna secure it so it doesn't move. But just in case, I recommend this, and they wanted to go this route, so that's what we're gonna put in place here. Move the unit back just to see what I can do. Probably gonna cut it here and over here above the coupling that's here, get rid of any other extra connections. And over here I'm gonna get rid of the coupling here, cut here. It's kind of long for this space, but listen, we gotta use it. It's what they wanted. It's probably just gonna have to, you know, loop around like that. Let me fit this up. All right, well, it ain't my favorite setup, but listen, it's the only way you're gonna fit this thing in here without like going crazy. So you're gonna have to put a coupling, sand everything down, of course, and then you could attach this. I'll make it look neater in the end, but I can only cut up to there, and I can only cut up to there, so it is what it is. I don't want to go anymore. It's gonna be pretty much look the same. I don't want to get too close to the other connections. So the heat paste, the heat blocking putty, we're gonna put some over here as well so we don't melt anything. Of course, run nitro through the system and braze this up. All right, for this setup, Christian's gonna hold this so it doesn't fall when I hit it. You're gonna run nitro through each line in this case because you can't do the whole circulation, right? So we're gonna run nitro through here, braze, switch over, run nitro through here, braze. I want this done. Then we're gonna move the box back in its place and make the final connection. I probably could have pulled out a little piece of pipe and shoved this thing in here, but whatever. I wanted some room to play with. All right, let's hit it. Alright, push this all back. As far as here, I actually turned the unit back on because it's a solenoid, because I want to run nitro in and out of the system. If not, you gotta put a magnet on. I just plug it in and make it simple. So it's gonna be like that. Put some heat blocking putty here, wet rag, make sure we don't burn anything coming there. and we're just gonna braze on these last 2 connections, and yeah, that's gonna be it as far as connecting pipes. Barely fit 2 hands here, so it's gonna be tough. Let's just hope this thing doesn't drop while I'm brazing. Let's give it this last shot. Alright, that's what it's looking like. I have to make it a little neater in the end, but you don't have that crazy whole mess here. It looks better. I'll organize this as well. Let's charge up, pressurize the system with a decent amount of pressure, and leak check these new connections. All right, got a nitro tank connected, 0 pounds of pressure. Tank is open. Let's charge to the high side, and let's pressurize this system. We're going to use a micro leak detector. Pretty much spray our new connections. Wipe it down all after. Okay. I'll make sure we got no leaks here. So we had a crazy leak here before. Spray it up. Get your finger around. Make sure nothing's shooting out of there. Okay. The other one, that thing was just hissing away. We saw the oil on the lines, opened it up. Yeah, as soon as I walked into this room, my electronic leak detector went off. Check all those. Oh man, that's looking good. I got no leaks. Gonna release the nitro. Alright guys, got my vacuum pump connected, and we're just doing that one line. Everything else is running pretty interesting, and I was in Puerto Rico last weekend, which is pretty awesome. But unfortunately my GoPro did plug. I was always using the GoPro Hero 8 Black since about 2020, and I finally started using the newest one, the GoPro Hero 13 Black. This is actually a birthday gift from my sister. I just haven't opened it in months, but it was time to start using it. So if you guys see better quality, let me know. Alright guys, we finished off with the vacuum. Put my tank of R404A on the scale. I had to buy a new one. Last one broke. It's the same one I had. Had it for like almost 10 years, so I picked up the same one. It's the Field Piece SRS1. Open the tank. Let's purge. Purge. Zero out the scale. And as far as refrigerant, I'm only gonna go by pretty much at the beginning is how much I know we lost in that short time frame. So I'm gonna start with about 5 pounds, because this thing was losing gas like crazy. And you know, you could check line temperature on the suction line there, but that is also gonna vary. These units are kind of tricky, so we're gonna add some gas and pretty much watch the box temperatures. Once everything we see is cold, well, you know you're good there. So okay, that's good. What we're gonna do actually, it's already a vacuum. Now we can open up these lines again. Let's start in the right direction. We're gonna open up the lines there. All right. Now we're right back to where we were, and now we can charge the refrigerant. Okay. Charge to the low side. See what happens. Let's get those boxes to get cold. All right, added a few pounds. You guys can see we are at 37 degrees. Looks a lot cleaner here. Just gotta insulate those lines, made things a little neater, but this is so much better than that huge coil up that we saw before. All right, got this main walk in here. On the door says we're at 32, but that's not really the right temperature. I did put a digital thermostat in here, and we're at 38 degrees. That's perfect. All right, we made it, guys. So the lines are nice and cold. You see this one here, you see how it's like frozen? But if you look back here, it's not. Right? It's already starting to defrost a little. Yeah, it's just not insulated, so when it's night and it's humid and that pipe is cold, it's going to freeze up. And yeah, these are all nice and cold too, but this all needs to be re-insulated. But that right there is a beautiful thing. Everything is nice and cold. If anyone found this video interesting or helpful, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe as I come out with new videos every week. And I'll catch you all next time.